If the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say this was their finest hour.
We stand for Queen, country, and video games. BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy, hoy, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what is a Sunday morning for us, but episode 259 of BRB UK to you. We missed an episode, so we're making up good and doing an extra one, even though it isn't really an extra one. This is just one to catch up that we did before. Understand that? Good. I don't. It's Coleman. Say hello.
Hi!
And the other one's Tim.
You woke me up on a weekend.
No, Coleman woke you up.
I did have to wake Tim up.
To be fair, saying we're going to wait, we're podcasting at 11, I thought was a suitably gentlemanly hour for a Sunday.
It did sound like a good plan before Sunday morning.
Right, okay. And
then I kind of stayed up late drinking and watching TV.
Drinking Coca-Colas.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's not going to help you go to sleep, is it?
And not watching porn.
It wasn't really Coke.
Coke and porn. That's what Tim was doing.
Rock and roll podcaster lifestyle.
What else does anyone do with their Saturday nights?
You're married.
Oh, right.
Just saying.
Yeah. I think you'll find I didn't actually get a ring, so technically we're not.
If you like it, you should have put a ring on it.
Yeah, well, you did wake him up this morning, didn't you, Coleman? Didn't have to reach far, though, did you?
Just turned round, nudged me.
Gave him a little tickle, a little fluffing. Woke right up, didn't he?
I don't like where this is going.
I don't like where this has gone.
So Coleman's telling me this is going to be a freeform episode where we just talk a load of rubbish.
Conversational podcast.
Does that mean we just insult me for the whole episode then? Is that how it goes?
Or just hope you shut up at some point would be nice.
Oh, well, I would have
you.
thought 259 episodes in, you would have learned by now, Dan. You can't shut up the Tim.
I'm hoping, because you're so tired, you're just going to fall asleep.
You can't silence the truth, Dan.
It's not that... Never mind.
This is weird already.
What happens when you wake me up early?
I'm instantly regretting
It's
this.
not early! It's 11:29!
It's almost the afternoon, Tim. I'm starting to regret this freeform podcast idea already.
For a man who's never completed university, you really are having your student days now, aren't you?
It never stopped, some would say.
Jesus.
It's had about 20 years of them.
You know, the last time, I remember when I was a teenager, I could sleep for 14, 15 hours if I wanted to.
Good.
It was incredible. Like, the most sleep I tend to get these days is about 6.5 hours a night.
To be fair, I only had about 8 hours sleep. I just didn't go to sleep very early.
But it's still 11:29, Tim.
Don't remind me, Dan. Jesus.
Wakey.
Hey,
What?
remember the games and stuff we're going to talk about?
Oh, so we got no news to talk about.
Okay, coming off the bat of this, we record on a Thursday, it goes out on a Friday, we're recording on a Sunday, which means if we start covering the news now, there won't be any left for us next week, most probably. Plus, there's not that much anyway.
Oh, there's going to be loads because Destiny.
There will be, I don't know, the world might shut down because everyone's playing Destiny 2.
Or, well, the world might shut down, or, North Korea could continue being absolute dickholes and there not be a world.
Well, it's the apt time to attack when everyone's distracted with Bungo games.
I don't think me calling Kim Jong-un an absolute f***ing muppet is going to alter the chances of him detonating anything. He's going to do it anyway because he's a twat.
Might be the straw that broke the camel's back, Dan. He might hear the podcast and just go, right.
The chance of him listening to this is vanishingly slim.
Nuke Slough off the planet.
Unfortunately, we will take some civilization with us in as collateral damage.
Not in Slough, you won't.
Well, it's just like a big target because it's like roundabout on roundabout on roundabout. So from space, it actually does
just looks
look
like a giant
bullseye
target.
Slough.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it does.
I can see someone just going up to Theresa May. Theresa, we've got bad news.
Well, Theresa May's the MP for Maidenhead, which is just down the road.
Basically, Kim Jong-il launched a nuclear strike at Slough.
Kim Jong-il was the previous one.
Yeah,
he's not dead, really, Dan. Anyway, right. But
Oh, Kim Jong-il! No, that's your
only
name.
ill.
That's your name. No, Kim Jong-il.
But yeah, going up to Theresa May. Slough has been taken off the map. We may have lost up to 300 roundabouts in the incident.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to devastate entry onto the M25 and the M4, I tell you.
The roundabout times is doing its nut.
Talking about No Man's Slough.
Yay, No Man's Slough. I've been playing a bit more of that, actually.
Hooray.
Because that big update, and also I'm just kind of spinning my wheels a bit before Destiny 2 drops.
I do want to play some of that.
It's really worth. Start a new game would be my advice.
Really?
Just start afresh.
Just abandon all ye hope.
Yeah, abandon all 3 hours of that you played, Tim.
I had all my different galaxies and stuff named after different podcast episodes, and then the planets were named. Can't get this right now. Galaxies were named after podcasts. Planets were named after podcast episodes. And then all the animals and wildlife and things were named after different, in-jokes, like Tiny Earl, that kind of thing.
Wow.
We need to let you out more, Coleman.
Yeah, I did spend a lot of time in that game.
Wowza. Wow.
I did lose a good 50 hours to No Man's Sky when it first came out, so...
Evidently, 45 of those spent naming crap.
See, but why should I restart?
Because, okay, so the whole... The whole structure of the game's pretty much been reworked. So it actually teaches you what to do now at the beginning, and there's missions that start really only smoothly start and fit into the game arc if you start a brand new game. So it will teach you a lot more about, hey, here are the elements you need, here's why you should build stuff, here's how you look for resources on a planet. Oh, by the way, there's this really weird dude who you don't know who he is. He's trying to speak to you. You probably ought to speak to him and stuff, shouldn't you? Yes.
Don't speak to the weird stranger dude. Space strangers equals danger.
Space stranger danger.
Space stranger danger.
Space stranger danger, yes, that's exactly what it is. But no, really? Is there that much you're that attached to in the original No Man's Sky?
That was a question I was going to ask Tim. Is how much do you remember about your universe you left behind months ago?
I mined a lot of stuff.
Well, chances are all of that stuff is now completely meaningless because you need a bunch of other
I don't want to mine
to craft the really good stuff now.
Surely there would be an easy way of just hey, now fly here and you can start all over again rather than... No. Unless you've got millions and millions of credits and a freighter and a base you've built up.
Isn't there there's the two modes? There's the regular single player mode, and then there's the unlimited resources mess around
there's
mode.
4 modes actually. There is normal, survival, hardcore survival, and just do what the hell you like.
Yeah, so you could very much just go A to B, I'm guessing.
If you want to do that, Tim.
Okay.
No one's stopping you.
No, they're not. I just checked.
It's a lot better now, and I'm only just scratching the surface of some of the new stuff, like being able to, there's these big new monolithic kind of portals that you've got to work out how to unlock. There's a bit more of a puzzly element to it.
These are the ones that look like Stargates.
Yeah, pretty much. It's 2000 and Stargate.
Kurt Russell and James Spader.
No.
Well, they were in the movie.
They were in the movie, but not in this, Timothy.
Oh.
Sorry, buddy.
James Spader should be in everything.
Yes.
He's got a great voice.
Especially space related for some reason.
He was Ultron, you know.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah. He was in Boston Legal as well. I love that show.
He was. Why not? I'm just going to agree to everything you said.
Okay. And The Office.
He was
Are we
in
going to go
Postman
through
Pat.
his whole career now that we've mentioned him?
He was in the Postman Pat movie.
Brilliant.
He was Mr. Bean, the movie. He was in that.
Was he?
And the second Johnny English film.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty incredible, huh? What a storied CV that man has. But no, No Man's Sky it's a very, very different game. So when did you last play it? Did you play it Did you play it after the base building patch?
No, I haven't played either of those updates, so that's why there's quite a lot of content there for me to mess around with.
Okay, so yeah, just start new, dude. Seriously, just start new. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on a whole load of tutorials. I would say if you had been really invested in it, you probably wouldn't want to. But if you have literally just bumbled around in it, no offense, Tim, but it's what you do.
I'm so hoping for a VR mode for that game, but still,
that would be pretty cool.
It would work.
It would be pretty cool, but. Yeah, there's a lot of... Yeah. I don't think the PS4 has got the horsepower, or the Pro has the horsepower to deal with it.
It's exactly the right sort of graphical style that I think would really work well in VR, basically.
Yeah, well, the problem is that it's very CPU intensive, the whole engine. It's because it's generating everything on the fly. I mean, although it's kind of procedurally generated so that it's not coming up with a new random number for every system you visit, it knows what to generate in that system. But to keep the game size down, it generates the terrain on the fly rather than having that pre-rendered terrain there.
Don't tell me it won't work, Dan. Just go and make it work. With
I don't want
magic.
Excuses, I want solutions.
Yes.
Yeah, me, that well-known Hello Games Employee of the Month. I can make it happen, clearly. Yes, Tim.
Good.
All right, I shall go and do that. I'll let you know how it's going, okay? Good. Marvellous.
Cool.
Regular updates, but I won't listen to.
Should we do one of Tim's many games then?
Yeah, let's do one of them.
Shall I do a little PSVR roundup, as there's a few games that I haven't spoken about?
It's not going to be little, Tim, is it?
Well, little-ish.
Pick one for now, and then we'll come back. We're going to move around the table, Tim.
I think
Daddy Coleman has spoken.
I think the three games that we can go through relatively quickly. The ones that we haven't spoken about previously, but ones to catch up with that I bought. I think two of them I bought during the sale, but they've been out for a bit longer, and the other one...
Already, this is a cool story.
The other one is a newer game, but the newer game one is special delivery.
I think it was a Tuesday that I bought it.
Shut
I can
up,
remember
Dan!
it well because I had £27 in my PlayStation wallet.
So I put an onion on my shoulder, as was the fashion back then.
See, this is why my reviews take longer, because you two won't shut the hell up. Right.
Talk about sodding special delivery then.
Special delivery. And this one's actually worth listening to because it's basically Paperboy in PSVR, basically.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think it's made by a kind of small indie game designer, which is one of the things that's evidenced by the fact that it came out over here a lot later than it came out in the US. And I don't know why, but that always seems to be the case for PSVR games. If it's a smaller developer or a smaller publisher, they seem to have problems bringing it out in multiple regions at once.
Okay.
I'm not too sure what that is. I don't know if they need to work on the specialization and, the localization themselves, and so they don't get that much support with it. I don't know. I'm not sure why that is. But yeah, this came out in the US a while back, and it was a little bit broken at launch by all accounts.
Right. How so?
It literally didn't work very well by the sounds of things.
Sounds pretty broken then.
Yes, as it just had some fairly major errors, but not things that I've ever encountered because they seem to have all been dealt with by the time this UK version came out. But the developer, who as far as I know is just an individual, garnered a lot of goodwill with the PSVR community type thing because he did listen to the criticisms of what was happening, went and patched the game and kind of rebalanced things and made adjustments based on player feedback. And then also included some new features, like added aim support, which sounds ridiculous and kind of is, but was quite cool. And so, yeah, he got, a lot of support for that. It's still not the most sort of crisply made game, but there's a certain charm to its kind of graphical style and the kind of simplicity of everything else.
Because it's all flat shaded polygons, really, isn't it? It's kind of almost it's not a Minecraft aesthetic, but you can kind of see what I mean. But lots of nice, bright primary colours.
More like Crossy Roads aesthetic.
Oh, there we go. That's a better example.
And yeah, it's weird. There's something that's actually quite nice about being in a game in this graphical style, and it sounds a bit reductive, but it feels like you're in an old school game, as in you're actually in that game type thing. And there's something that's quite nice and appealing about that type of thing. The basic gameplay is it sees you driving down the middle of a road. The road is obviously in 3D because it's a 3D environment because it's on PSVR. But then there are 3 different control methods. And basically, yeah, some of them do and don't work to different degrees, and some of them have different advantages and disadvantages to what you're doing. The main aim of the game is to keep your subscribers happy, very much in the kind of Paperboy style, or as much as I remember from Paperboy. But basically, you have certain houses that you need to deliver to, and these will be signified by their, American-style mailbox that's on the edge of the road, and some of them will be red and some of them will be blue, and you need to deliver to the blue ones, basically. The more people you keep happy, the more your subscribers go up. And you keep people happy, obviously, by making sure you make their deliveries. And you can make you get a bonus if you put it directly in their mailbox. You just satisfy the conditions if you just deliver to the house. There's also different objects and different things getting in the way. There's dogs that you can throw papers at to stop them charging you. And then you get bonuses for hitting other objects and stuff like that. Yeah, if you're just doing it with move controllers, you can have one hand on your bike while you're using your other hand to grab papers and throw them into the boxes. When Coleman was playing this, he literally, hand-delivered by cycling on the pavement and physically putting them in the boxes.
Your parents did a great job bringing you up, Coleman. Congratulations.
Polite,
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me, sorry, papers here, sir. Sorry about my friend Timothy. He's a bit off his tits on Rockstar energy drink at the moment.
That's it. I've seen how Tim throws the papers as well. So I think I did the right call there. If I did that on my paper route when I was a kid, just lobbing newspapers on roofs and down the drains and stuff, and I'd be fired in a day.
Yeah,
exactly.
But this does become a problem method when you suddenly have to deliver a paper to the other side of the street.
That is, and it's mainly I'm not a big fan of the control scheme. I haven't tried the AIM version. I just used the VR the PlayStation Move controllers, and I found with those, so you don't hold them like a handlebar. You have to hold them straight, which is a little bit weird when you look at your hands and they're sideways. But it's so you're steering like it's a bicycle. But every now and then I find that one of the move controllers will kind of just not register, and the other hand will just turn sharp left or sharp right, and it will stick there. So I'm flailing my arms like an idiot trying to get it to register them, and then I crash into something. I find that happens quite a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, because you do have suffer with motion sickness a bit, don't you, Coleman? And just seeing the videos of this game looks like it would make you vomit everywhere.
This one wasn't great for that, but it's not the worst motion sickness problem I've had with video games.
Well, it's not too fast, I think, is part of the reason.
Do we need, on our VR, if we're reviewing a VR game, in addition to our barrels out of barrels, do we need a Von Bucket out of Von Bucket score?
Maybe. I mean, you could sort of measure between the two, because so Arkham Knight, was it Arkham VR?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Arkham VR would be like my top category, didn't make me sick at all. And then on the bottom, it would be Robinson the Journey, because, oh my God, screw that game's navigation.
The worst one I've had for that was the bonus content with Tomb Raider.
Oh my word! Oh, that was really funny because we unlock the mode and then Tim goes and plays it. He's like, "Oh, this is making me feel really sick. Do you want to go?" Like, no, I clearly don't.
Yeah, they had teleport in that, and I was like, "No, teleport off. I hate teleport." And I was like, "Oh, I'm going back to the teleport. This is horrible."
Yep, there we go. Oh, that's why they put that in there. Oh, hang on, they're onto something here.
Just rounding up special delivery, it's as I said, it's not the most perfect game. And the aim controller is quite good fun. The only thing I found weird about it is I would have thought you used one move controller and one aim controller, and I don't know if you can do that.
No,
but you just have to use the one side of a normal PS4 pad and while holding the aim controller on the other hand. But then it gives you a big massive gun, and you literally just dunk it in the basket to refill the paper and then just kind of spray them all around.
Doesn't the aim controller has like a thumbstick on it though? Why couldn't you just use that rather than
I would have thought they would have put it all on that maybe, but yeah, it seems a bit odd.
Because that's not going to make you look half as badass in your living room in your pants, is it?
Possibly not. But yeah, I mean, it's £9.49, I think, brand new. So it's not the most expensive game. It's definitely more of an arcadey thing, and there's a little tutorial on the way in, and the main game, and you have to just make progress at the main game to get to the later levels and stuff like that. So there's not too much game there, but it's not too expensive. I don't know. It's not something that you're going to essentially and everyone says, "Oh, I'm not going to run out and buy a PSVR headset." No. You're not going to do that for this game. But I kind of like having this in my library of stuff. It also adds as another game that you can play with the aim controller. And it's the one game that's not just standing still shooting things with the aim controller at the moment as well. So it's a bit more interesting.
I don't know if I'd recommend this. I was talking to about this to a friend at work because I believe the developers originally straight up made a Paperboy game. And then they got into some legal trouble, so they changed the name to Special Delivery. And we're talking about
funny, that.
And then instantly, like, here's the thing: Paperboy is one of those games that people hear and they go, "Oh, I love Paperboy," and that's what happens around the office. Go, do you though? Have you played Paperboy recently?
Yeah.
And then you get them to try out a ROM or something, and they're like, "Oh, wow, yeah, this was really bad, really hard." So it's got that weird nostalgia factor that I think if someone went, "Oh, a VR version of Paperboy, I'd love that," and then you try it, and you're like,
I have to say, going back to a lot of games I remember fondly from my childhood, that happens.
Yeah.
I think it's really Link to the Past is probably the one in my mind that stands up best, but a lot of them, like 720 from that era as well, that doesn't hold up so well.
Where did you hear he got in legal trouble, by the way? Because that sounds like a bit of an urban legendary thing. I'm not sure that's entirely.
a friend of mine who is a VR developer.
Okay. So maybe it is.
My friend of mine who made the game. Oh, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, look, it's not exactly Paperboy, obviously, but if someone made exactly Paperboy these days, it wouldn't play well. And this, like, I don't know, it's interesting, it's a bit fun, it's a bit different. As I said, I wouldn't go, every person that owns an AIM controller needs this game or anything like that. I wouldn't go quite that far, but I still think it's an interesting, fun little thing for not very much money that's worth messing around with, possibly.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's my bit longer review. The other two will be a little bit quicker because they're things I just picked up.
Well, I thought you were going to segue with the whole urban legend thing, Tim. That's what I was expecting.
Oh, well, urban legend, yes. Basically, yeah, if anyone that doesn't know, Polybius has been around in video game kind of culture for many a year.
Since the 80s.
Since the 80s.
1981.
And, Mr. Jeff Minter of Alarmasoft fame decided to make it...
Jeff Minter of crazy video game madness.
Decided to make it an actual game. And in doing so went, you know what, we're going to make a really trippy VR experience. And yeah, they succeeded in that.
Well, what's
just
the
to give you a little bit of backstory on this. So it's Polybius is allegedly released in 1981, but there's no copyright to it. No one really knows if it definitely existed or not. And there's this urban theory about its being that actually it was so popular, it was mega addictive, and people were fighting over who was going to play next, and it was all a government conspiracy involving, CIA, Men in Black, and it was actually something designed to test responses to the game's psychoactive effects.
Yeah, so because different reports have stated that there are different effects to the game, it's also theorized that different versions of the machine were dropped in different cities or different locations just to...
Dum dum dum!
Yeah, so you can collate what effects different versions of the game have. And yeah, it's been this... It's been an urban legend for years. No one's actually got photographic evidence of the machine existing or anything like that.
Of course they don't, because the government wouldn't let them.
Government came and took my baby.
Take them.
And
Will Smith came in.
Bloody dingo came in.
So it's been this urban legend for a long time. There's no real evidence of it, just like recollections of people saying that they've played it. It's appeared in different films and TV shows in the background. Usually, if there's an 80s set or an old-looking arcade in a film or a TV show, there's a good chance that someone's mocked up a Polybius machine and stuck it in there.
It's going to be all over the Ready Player One movie, is what we're saying.
Because there's no copyright.
It's it is the ultimate nod ahead to did it exist? Didn't it exist? Back in the 80s, and so basically, as far as I can work out, then right, Jeff Minter could make any old and call it Polybius.
Yes, and that's exactly what he did. Yeah, this is a kind of weird, trippy, for want of a better word, but definitely very psychedelic looking in its nature.
What a refreshing change from all his other games.
Very minimalistic. I haven't seen as many llamas or drafts as in other games of his, but they'll probably be in later levels. But yeah, basically, you're a small kind of craft in the middle of the screen, very minimalistic kind of 8-bit graphics, and it very minimalist in the amount of instructions it gives you. It basically says, hey, do what feels natural.
I mean, to me, it almost looks a lot like, it has very similar kind of a graphical styling to Res, almost, something like that.
It's not too dissimilar. I would say this is even more... It looks even more like you're in a kind of old 8-bit machine type thing. But yeah, it's very simple. And basically, without really giving you too much instructions, you start shooting at the sort of enemies that are coming towards you. And you're going, kind of going straight forward into the screen sort of thing. And basically, you've got to hit a load of gates. And every time you hit one gate, it speeds you up. And yeah, it really doesn't tell you many more instructions than that, and you just got to kind of play through and go through. And yeah, like, it does get quite hectic at times. It's not necessarily the easiest game. It's really easy to kind of just clip the side of those gates and actually blow up and die sort of thing. It's definitely a really well-made game. It's kind of definitely a bit self-referential in terms of, its subject matter and everything else.
Does it have an existential crisis and isn't sure whether it actually exists or not?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay, good. Which is a very existential crisis answer to that particular thing of do you exist or not.
And
Excellent.
some of its component parts that make it what it is are also some of its downfalls type thing. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't look particularly graphically impressive, even though it does definitely have its own style and look, kind of aesthetically pleasing within those parameters. It's still not the prettiest game in the world, but then it didn't really set out to be. And it's also, there's not that much to it. It doesn't give you a massive reason to return to it, but it's still a well-made and interesting game. You just definitely need to be interested in the kind of psychedelic nature of it and what's it. If you've played through kind of Thumper and Rez, and you're looking for something slightly less musical and slightly more crazy, then this is definitely up your street, basically.
The whole game, well, not the game itself, the concept of the game, it reminds me of, have you guys ever tried, well, I got to phrase this correctly. Have you guys ever tried the video game on the PlayStation that is named LSD?
Right, no, I don't think I
think that's better than saying, have you tried LSD? Yeah, there was a game on PlayStation released in Japan called LSD, and the whole point of the developer wanted to basically simulate the experience of taking LSD. And
right.
He hired loads of different artists and loads of different renderers and basically went, right, give me your concept of what you think that would be. And then basically mashed all these things together and made it this weird first-person exploration experience. But it's that kind of concept of the sort of insanity in video games that I really like. And so I'm going to have to give Polybius a try. I haven't given it a go myself, but I love the idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to do too well for your motion sickness thing, because it does go pretty fast.
That's why I bought travel sickness tablets.
Oh my God, really?
I've got some journeys to make soon, so I've got some tablets.
Fair enough.
I thought, I'm going to try that with VR just as an experiment, see if that stops it.
And if that's moving too fast for you, Coleman, how about we slow it right down and get static?
Yeah, what's static?
Yeah, what's that about, Tim? Can I just say that was a terrible, terrible segue?
I thought that was fine until you pointed
that was
out.
more like a radio segue.
Yeah, that's all good. But yeah, basically, Static is very different. It's a kind of highly polished, well-presented puzzle game. It's definitely not quite the same, but in the same vein as... why am I blanking on? A Portal kind of thing, where you're in a scientific laboratory and kind of helping out with experiments.
As opposed to the non-scientific laboratories. I hate them.
Yes, and kind of helping out with their experiments, but not necessarily having too much choice in doing so, possibly. But basically, yeah, you are literally sat still in a chair, and you usually have, like, both of your hands stuck inside a box, basically.
Is it like those kind of Chinese finger puzzles, but in a big box?
Yes, it's a bit similar to that, except for it's kind of more electric versions. And basically, every single time, the box is almost completely different, and the different buttons on your controller will do different things. So it really suits the VR environment, because you've got the headset on and you can't really see, but you've got something in your hands, and that is obviously the controller. But everything you do on the controller will have a different effect and do different weird things, like move different levers up and down, or change, to a different mode, or just change something about what's happening with the box that you're interacting with. And they're all a bit complicated, like you might have to like move a succession of levers to pull out some slides, and then put those slides together to match up a silhouette of something. and then that'll unlock the next stage of the box. And like, it's all kind of quite involved, little things like that. And then there's different things which will react to what's going on around you in the environment. And a lot of the puzzles are kind of, some of them are quite abstract and some of them are quite just, work out what's going on with what's exactly in front of you. And sometimes you have to kind of abstractly think about, literally think outside the box and kind of use something within your environment to kind of solve the puzzle. But yeah, like it's really, really like really nicely styled. As I said, it looks like kind of high end development type stuff. It's really well done. The puzzles are really interesting. And it's really good. Like, one of the only reasons I haven't gone back to it for a bit is just because I bought quite a few games in and around the same time. But I was also playing with a friend of mine and we were kind of alternating between boxes and I didn't want to see the boxes that he'd done. So I need to kind of go back and do some of the other boxes and do that. But yeah, also like in between rounds, you're solving like a bigger mystery and you get different pieces of the puzzle that you're literally sort of plugging together to kind of solve what's going on a little bit. The overall story is really nicely presented. The game itself is really nicely presented, and the puzzles are of a really high quality and high standards. And I really like it. I think it's a really good game.
I mean, just having a little look at a trailer of it as you've been speaking, it almost reminds me of it. I don't know if either of you guys have ever played on mobile the series of games called The Room.
The Room? Yeah.
Oh, I love The Room.
Yeah. Is it a bit like that, where essentially it's kind of like several layers of puzzles depending on how far you've unlocked the box?
Yes, and each it's kind of, they're very layered puzzles, and you've got to like solve one bit before you solve another bit. And often you'll like solve one bit of a puzzle and you think you're done with that bit and you realise, oh no, that now integrates to this other part of the puzzle later on, type thing. And yeah, as I said, like the puzzle boxes themselves, the only thing I'm a bit worried about is how much replay value there is to the game once you've gone through it all. But I think I bought it like when it was half price, and for that price, or I think maybe not half price, I bought it for like a tenner or something, and for that price it is fantastic. But I think it's only about 15 quid brand new.
Okay.
It really suits the PSVR kind of environment, and the game makes sense within that as well. And yeah, I can't quite talk about it highly enough because it's really good, basically.
And so how many puzzles are there, or are you not really sure?
10 to a dozen, that sort of number.
But then there's
the in between bits and the kind of more fleshed out story as well.
75p a puzzle.
Yeah, so yeah, as I said, I think it's really good.
Cool.
Really like that.
I mean, I love this kind of game, the kind of just slightly casual, slow-paced puzzle game that you can kind of do at your leisure. If I had a PSVR headset, I'd definitely give this a bit of a go, I think, because it looks right up my boulevard.
There's an increasing amount of games that I wouldn't say this is something you need to run out for a headset for, but this is another one where if you have a PSVR headset, this is a very good game to pick up and have in your collection. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Now the next thing is a game you both played, I see.
Yeah!
But also one that I'm slightly A, confused what it is, and B, has received very mixed reviews since its release.
Gonna receive a mixed review from me so
Excellent.
far. Yeah.
So this is Absolver, and I popped onto PSN last night in between my PlayStation trying to melt itself. And Coleman was in a party, I believe it's called Super Sexy Fun Fight Boys or something, or Party for Sexy Fight Boys. I was then told I'm not a sexy fight boy.
It was sexy fight boy party.
A sexy fight boy party. And I was told I was not a sexy fight boy because I didn't have Absolver. I went, how much was it? 25 quid. I went, I'm all right being a fat
Aww.
Sexy fight boy for life.
So it's a kind of massively multiplayer fighting game?
Yeah, the Absolver is... I wasn't particularly impressed when I saw the first footage of this game because I didn't understand what it was. And then as it's been ramping up and the more I've heard of it, through Diomed especially, he's been very excited about this game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of rubbed off on me. But then when I've been watching first impressions or previews to the game, I thought it looked pretty boring. And now I finally got my hands on it and I quite enjoy it. But it's so it's an online based Dark Souls-like, I guess.
You say that. I can't, other than enemies respawning, I can't really see and combat being difficult.
It's
in places.
a large open world that you've got to kind of learn to navigate, where there are enemies all over the place and bosses all over the place with various degrees of difficulty. That's why most people are making the Dark Souls comparison.
Well, there's less bosses, but anyway.
There are, but you just haven't got to them, Tim.
Okay.
Actually, you've beaten one boss already.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So the whole aim of this is you're online, you're going around the world, and you are fighting people.
Going around the world fighting.
Fighting around the world.
Right.
And that in either hand-to-hand combat, either hand-to-hand combat or with various weapons like daggers and swords and spiked gauntlets, that sort of thing. And so when you start off in this game, you're a dude, you make your dude, you're given a mask, and then that mask means you're an Absolver, and then you've got to go out and fight other Absolver dudes, I guess. It's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
They all at every screenshot is like, that's a very angry speaker from Destiny.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because the main one they use on the advertisements does look a lot like the speaker setup from Destiny. But the game itself, I'm having fun with the game itself. I'm getting frustrated with some of its features. So walking around the world and fighting people and trying to discover new moves and things, that's what I really enjoy. And I find it kind of that it sort of has two modes for me. One of being quite the No Man's Sky relaxing, exploring, doing stuff kind of thing, which I really like. And the other one being, edge of the seat fighting game. Oh my God, I'm down to my last bit of health and I've got 3 people on me. How do I get out of this situation? So both. That's
really good.
Yeah. It's a weird 2 styles to have in one game. And that's something that I'm really enjoying about it. 'Cause it's kind of, you're relaxed and you're tense at various stages of the game. The thing I'm not liking is me and Tim tried to do some co-op last night, and the co-op setup is awful.
Oh God, yeah.
Right.
First, you have to find altars, which are kind of like the campfires of this game. You go to them to, update your stats and what have you,
and meditate and stuff.
Yeah. And then there's also a social section. So when you go to the social section, you've got to invite someone into your game. When you do that, they're automatically in co-op mode with you. And that's about it. You're meant to be able to go off and explore in different ways, and then you can see a marker for the other person if you want to go follow them back. But there's no kind of map system unless you're at an altar, and it gives you a map. It doesn't really tell you where you are on the map, just kind of...
Here's a map!
Yeah, it's got blocks without keys to tell you what those blocks are, sort of thing. There's no HUD. There's there's nothing to kind of navigate the game except for this one terrible map. So I ended up cheating a little bit.
To do with the waypoint system in general.
A waypoint system, yeah, they don't have one of those.
Oh, Jesus.
And the problem we have with co-op is if one person dies, it then spawns them back to a save point or to an altar. So if me and
not
Tim,
in the same game.
Yeah, so
what?
And sometimes not in the same server.
Oh my God.
Me and Tim would go out, and if one of us fell off, because we had a graphical issue yesterday where it just I clipped a post to a bridge, and then my character started floating and moving more and more towards the edge of the cliff, and then just fell off.
Yeah.
And then I instantly died, and we don't know where I am and where Tim is now. So
where are you, Coleman?
You're meant to follow the marker of the other character to go find them, but the marker wouldn't show up for me, but would show up for Tim.
Yeah.
So he could see where I am. I couldn't see where he was. And then there was another point where I finally got the marker appearing, so I go to find Tim, and he's in an area, but we're in different servers all of a sudden.
I'm stood right there. Where are you?
Yeah, it didn't tell us why we would if we were changing session, why we were changing session, anything like that. It just happened, and we didn't know why. And so that bit is infuriating, and I hope they fix that going down the line. But the game itself, single player without that stress, I'm actually kind of enjoying. I just wish I was able to get more people in and have a problem-free experience, because there are enemies that will traveling like a pack of 6 that I need help with.
And so, the kind of the unique selling point of this game is it's kind of something it calls the combat deck.
Yes.
So what is that about?
I really like that. Basically, you can customize your own moves and own combos.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Basically, you can customize what move combos into another, and there are some that will presumably combo together better than others. For instance, there was one where I had a kind of striking left kick, and I could combo it with another move, and I could do it with various different moves, and I did it. There was a left punch I could have comboed it with, but I comboed it with another sweeping right kick, and that's turned into a really useful combo for me, basically. So it's one that I actually default to when I need some kicks with range and to kind of separate me from my opponent a bit, basically.
And what I can't quite work out from just looking at the videos of the game is it like a proper full-on Virtua Fighter direct input kind of stuff, or is it basically a series of QuickTime events?
No, it's definitely not QuickTime events. It's more like a hack and slash type thing, that, you know, with that, like a Devil May Cry or a God of War type thing, but all punches and kicks.
Because all I could see when on the online videos of it was like there's a lot of waiting for particularly, the right for a bar to fill up to exactly the right point, and from that.
Well, there's like basically for each different move you have, there's an ideal combo time where you can hit the next move.
Right.
And there are a couple of hints and different ways of doing it. One of the most obvious ones is basically there's a stamina bar at the bottom of the screen. And as the stamina bar goes down, you can obviously, when you run out of stamina, you're kind of gassed and you can't really hit people with any kind of ferocity to your punches. So you need to kind of back off or dodge out the way or whatever and kind of get that back. But basically, as that is going, there's also a kind of yellow bar that refills back to the point where your stamina's maxed out kind of thing. But on the way there will be a point that it fills up to. There's a little yellow window where you can hit the next move. And if you do that, that'll be ideal timing. And I think it then gives you a bigger version of the move that you're doing or makes it a critical or uninterruptible. I'm not sure about that yet. But it enhances the move, basically. And yeah, like the actual combat and stuff's really interesting. A lot of the combat revolves around the fact that you've got this kind of different stance, and on the bottom of the screen it indicates that by telling you what stance you're in from one of four positions, like whether you're kind of forward and facing right or backwards and facing left or vice versa, or those two basically. And different moves will finish you in a different position, so you can then combo more easily into other things and stuff like that basically. And yeah, I think obviously some things you might go better together than others, and I think it could be difficult to know exactly how to do that. But as I said, I've had a fair degree of success with comboing a couple of my kicks. I also had a quick go at the online mode against another opponent last night as well.
Yeah, so did I.
And yeah, Coleman, I think you've played a few more matches than this.
No, I just did the one, and then you did the one. So we're equal on that.
Well, yeah, basically, I was fighting this dude. He was like twice my level. I basically went 2-0 up, and then he got his sword out. And I don't have a weapon yet. And I was fighting him like no-handed with sword. He brought it back to 2-2, and then I managed to beat him in the final round, which I was quite happy about.
Well done you, Timothy.
But yeah, like it's, I don't know, like I don't know how that balances, and I don't know like why I was fighting an opponent that seemed to be much better equipped than I am. Maybe there just isn't that many people in the world yet. But yeah, that seemed fun, if a little difficult.
It kind of reminded me of... So we're just doing the 1v1 matches, and I think you can unlock that to have like 2v2 and that kind of thing.
Cool.
I don't know if there's any kind of handicap match to that as well, where you can turn 1 or 2 people. But they use the online system to kind of prove your worth to, open your own guild in the game. So once we've played enough of that, we'll open up a BigRedBarel guild and all will be good times.
Open a school.
But the online
school fool.
The online versus stuff kind of reminds me of the online versus in For Honor, where it's that weird kind of, you've got that open world, you can run around, you can knock people off cliffs and things that are in the world, but or you can just go straight in and do melee, and it's an interesting take. It's kind of got the whole game's got this weird Dark Souls, For Honor with Bushido Blade kind of mixed into it with the combat system of Remember Me.
Well, you see, the whole thing kind of reminds me of a Jade Empire set in a No Man's Sky type of like environment. The whole world like feels, I don't know, it feels slightly less impressive than it almost should do, but it kind of looks okay in some areas and kind of looks alright, but the whole thing's a bit bland, I would say, world-wise. And also, there doesn't seem to be a heavy distinction between the random characters that you're fighting and actual people that might be wandering.
No, I disagree that's to begin with, when everyone kind of looks the same when they're starting out. But the further you go in, the more crazy costumes and things people start picking out. It's pretty obvious who's who. You know, you can tell what a drone is, you can tell what a boss is, and you can tell what a player is easy enough. The only ones that confuse me are the NPCs that you can go up and talk to.
Okay,
because they're the ones that you start throwing punches at them and nothing's happening. Oh, I got to talk to you. Right, I see. I'm going to stick with it because I'm enjoying it. I want to do more of the online stuff. I'm hoping they can fix, you know, some of the problems surrounding the multiplayer stuff in co-op. But yeah,
and I think a lot of the good parts of this game will possibly come deeper into it when we've got a school, when you're able to like learn moves and teach moves from mentors and senseis and stuff. And yeah, like it's definitely one I want to stick with as well. As you say, I really hope they improve that co-op stuff. But generally, the actual basic fighting mechanic and the basic elements of the game, I really enjoy.
So is it pretty much a case then of give it a couple of months and it could be the game you really want it to be?
I'd say getting on in the earlier levels before they start making the improvements and things, because it's interesting enough as it is, and whether that is going in and doing the co-op or playing on your own, I think you're going to have fun with it.
And it's what, 25 quid?
I think it's 25.
25, and it's out on PS4 and PC, I believe.
That's the problem with PlayStation games. Well, with a lot of stores in general. You if you want to look up the price to tell someone, but you've already bought it, then it just says purchased.
Yeah, I wish they did tell you,
like grade out the price next to it or something.
Well, that's it. I was going to get it on my storied path to being Sexy Fight Boy, but I was put off.
I think you should.
Really?
I think you should. Sexy Fight Boy live stream.
Be a school together and stuff.
It's gonna be sexy Space Wizard time soon on Destiny 2 though.
Yeah, I think if you're planning on playing on its own, there's not really a reason to put off it. Like the only thing that's been a bit like mechanically broken is the co-op, and hopefully that's something they'll fix. So
yeah,
okay.
I think there's enough there.
I can confirm something is there.
Definitely
something is there.
Interesting and different.
It's a decent start.
And yeah,
it's a bold choice. Let's see if it pays off.
I just want to become a drunking master.
You're one of those already.
I want the drunken master fighting style as well, because that is my favourite.
Zaz, I f***ing love you. I love you. You're my best
Whenever a
friend.
drunken master, even in Iron Fist, is like, wow, Iron Fist is a bit boring, and then a drunken master turns up, like, this picked up.
Master.
There's a lot of them down the bar called Shamrocks down the road from me every single night. Anyway, we're starting running a bit long on time. It's kind of turned into what has Tim played half hour.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do one game at a time and switch around.
Sorry.
But hey. I think you should do Stories Untold, though, Dan. Because that's pretty quick.
Yeah, I'll do this fairly quickly. So, Stories Untold, one of the things I'm on a regular subscription to is the Humble monthly bundle. So, for $12, going straight to charity, I get a bunch of generally pretty awesome games. Killing Floor 2 was amongst them this month, as was Stories Untold, which, because I'm kind of in a place where I don't want to get into anything too new and involved, I just it looks like a fairly self-contained thing, and it's very much described as interactive storytelling is how I would describe it, and it's got a very kind of retro 80s aesthetic, but not necessarily in the way you'd think. So it's a game, it's a kind of a series of 4 short stories which are linked. And the first one, which came out a little while ago, it's called The House Abandoned. And basically it's kind of all rendered around you, so it's not just staring at a computer screen. You're playing a text adventure sat at a desk on like a really old, clunky kind of what is essentially meant to be a ZX Spectrum, but copyright and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And you start playing this text game, and then there's a power cut, and it all comes back on, and that's when it all starts getting a little bit strange.
Okay.
And I don't want to spoil too much, but it's kind of blurring the lines of where does the game you're playing end and reality begin. And it's this very unsettling in the same way that I don't know if you guys watched The Ring.
Not in a very long time, and I never watched the Western version of it.
I'm familiar with it.
In the way that makes you feel really unsettled. Mm-hmm. This kind of evokes that atmosphere as well, and its stylings are absolutely spot on for the 80s when it's meant to be set. And then there's 3 more episodes to go through. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil the story for you, but one of them is you're doing you're in a it's a bit like what you're talking about with that what's in the box game. It's you're sat in a room just following the instructions of this kind of very monotonic researcher, just saying, okay, right now you need to do this to it, apply this to it, and there's kind of some puzzle elements in that. Then you're in a numbers station in the Arctic.
Okay.
Right.
Decoding and relaying messages as the world goes to crap around you by the sounds of things. And that has got a lot of... that's very puzzle heavy, that. And then the last one's set in a psychiatric ward.
Of course it is.
And it really... because why not? And it's a really... I mean, it's a short game. It's... I blasted through it all in about 3 hours. In one very unsettling sitting, but it is really good.
What, as in 3 hours for all 3 settings?
For all 4, yeah.
For all 4, sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But it's a really, and I hate saying this because it sounds so wanky, but it's a really interesting storytelling experience. And
would you say it's immersive?
I would say it's an emotional roller coaster. The way it tells the story and the way it all links up at the end, it's really... Clever's a very naff way to put it, but it ties itself up very nicely, and it really is. It's a very unique experience to play through, and I enjoyed it greatly. And if you want something a little bit different, then it's definitely a really good game to pick up. And Tim, I know you like your kind of your interesting narrative arcs in games and unusual ways in which they're told. I actually think you'd really like this.
Yeah, I think I have this. I should let Tim have a go. I was going to say there's a review for this up on the site. We gave it a 4 out of 5, praising it for fantastic tension building, wonderful retro aesthetics, and a spine-tingling sound design.
Yes. Yeah, the sound design and the kind of just the atmosphere, it's really good. And you can get it on Steam for £7.
Yeah. I like the negative put down is patience is a system requirement. Spelling and spacing needs to be precise. Says someone who's probably never played a text adventure.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's only the first episode is really heavy on the text adventure stuff, so don't let that put you off. That's
I have a question, Dan.
Yes?
Why is it called Stories Untold?
Because
they haven't told you the stories. They've told you.
No, I know. So it's now stories told to me. All right, but for you,
okay,
they are untold stories. They are stories untold.
You just told me about them, Dan.
And it's quite interesting what they kind of do. They kind of present it as almost like a kind of an 80s Twilight Zone series of episodes.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, and the series is called Stories Untold. So yeah. But it's really, really, really worth a look in if you like your kind of unusual ways of putting a story across. And yeah, I mean, it's I think on artistic merit more than gameplay merit, but it's definitely worth checking out.
Just as a sort of aside to piggyback off a topic we had on one of the most recent Geek Speaks that I was on, this is also a game jam.
Yes, it is.
Started game. Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Game jam success story.
I can confirm it has been upgraded to it's now Game Marmalade, which is Superior Jam. Good, right. Well, I think we're probably done, aren't we? I think.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Don't want to squeeze in some Sonic Mania? I know how you like your Sonic.
I do like Sonic.
Yeah, we can if you like. It's your call, Coleman.
All right.
Do it.
Okay, so I've been playing Sonic Mania, which I've been looking forward to.
Good. End of the show. Let's go.
Thanks. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
I've been looking forward to this for, it's about a year since they announced it, and I got my hands on it, EGX initially, and then again at Res, and again at PC Gamer. Always the same demo that they play as well.
And you were looking forward to this from what you've played, no?
Yeah, because I'm a massive fan of Sonic from back in the day, and I played Sonic 1, 2, 3, CD, Sonic and Knuckles. I still go back to them these days and really like it. So the whole point of Sonic Mania is what was originally sold to me was this is all the original Sonic game levels kind of mixed together and then messed around with, so different bosses appear and you think you're going through the same Green Hill Zone level you've played 1,000 times, but it's changing along as you play. It's not quite like that. It's not so much a remix thing as a reimagine. So this is made by Headcanon. And they are formed of, the main guy, Christian Whitehead. He's quite notorious in the fan-created versions of Sonic Online, the ROMs and things you can buy. He's made a few of those. And his team of, even the sound designers and all these kind of people, they're all people that have worked in the Sonic fan game community. So they know how to make Sonic games and they know what Sonic fans want particularly out of them.
So this is basically Sonic fan fiction, is what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. So it mixes
with less penises, Tim.
Sonic fan fiction is going to be the next game where you
make
your
own
rule
Sonic 34
characters.
Sonic, whatever you do.
No, the next Sonic game, the next 3D one, they have a mode where you can make your own Sonic characters, and people have gone, oh my god, the DeviantArt community is going to go mad.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's a great game if you type in your name, The Hedgehog, then that's your Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm going to have to do that when the game comes out.
Jesus.
But back to Sonic Mania, so this is all Mega Drive, Genesis type, Sega CD type game. It's all 2D sprite based. You play as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, or a combination of each of the two. And you do platforming.
No enchilada. Oh no, is Knuckles an enchilada?
No, he's
an enchilada is a Spanish dish.
I know.
He's an echidna. Which I couldn't pronounce for years as a kid, so I probably did call him Knuckles the Enchilada or something. So this takes elements from Sonic 1, 2, 3, Knuckles, and Sonic CD, and mashes them all together. Some retro-designed levels like Green Hill Zoo, Chemical Plant, that kind of thing.
No Sonic Pinball in there then, no?
No Sonic Pinball. Oh. And then it takes, then they make new levels as well, like Studiopolis is one of the newer ones where everything's kind of based around movie game studios, and there's like giant director chairs that propel you into the sky and things, and you go inside the back of like a TV news van and you get beamed out through the satellite on top of it. All really cool designs like that. This is a game, it's going to sound very cliche, this is a game for classic Sonic fans.
Oh, God.
But I would say give it a try if you've not, if you've never really got into Sonic games before and you've not played the older games, then definitely go give this a try because it's so nicely polished that it's the original games were nicely polished as well, but bringing this into new consoles and utilizing that, it kind of does what Shovel Knight does, where they make it look like an old game, but they use new game systems so you don't get slowed down and you don't get, too many enemies on the screen and the game starts to glitch out, or too much black on a screen and it screws up your TV. Like all these old traits we had as kids, all gone and perfected for this. And I'm really enjoying it. And it doesn't just center around Sonic as well. It centers around, just Sega in general. There's loads and loads of little Easter eggs in there you can find. I think there's an announcer in the game that pops up, and he's the announcer from Daytona, I believe. Yeah. Daytona. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of Shenmue references in there. It's really cool. It's definitely worth trying. It's not that expensive as well. I think it was, I think that was like $15.25 again.
One thing that I noticed from you playing it, there seems to be like levels where it was just a traditional kind of Sonic level, but then it got interrupted by like a bonus style level.
Yeah, there's bonus levels you can find either getting enough rings and using the checkpoint, and that'll make a little like starry hole appear above it and you jump into that, and then suddenly you're playing the bonus rounds from Sonic and Knuckles, which I wish they used the bonus rounds from Sonic 2 because they were far superior in the heart pipe thing. And then if you find giant rings, then you'll walk to a different bonus stage, and they will be the bonus stages from Sonic CD, where it's done in like a third-person racetrack type thing, and you've got to run and collect enough rings and collect enough objects in there before the time runs out, and then you'll get a Chaos Emerald for winning it. Yeah, really, really good. I totally recommend this.
Splendid.
Good.
Splendido.
Good. Especially if you've got a Switch, because you can play that. You can play that on the go.
Seems
and it's
like
not on the
suitable
Vita.
for Switch.
But watch out for PC versions, because there's a lot of weird stuff going on with that at the moment.
Really? Like what?
So you couldn't play the game online, and it was forced DRM, and it installed something to that such on your PC, and Sega were going, "Oh no, it's just a glitch. We're not trying to force you to play with DRM." And then it turned out that there was something installed on the game that was forcing the DRM, and if you deactivated, you could play offline, and that's kind of made it look like Sega were lying there.
It's Sega. It's the disappointed Sega opening bit. Instead of Sega, it's
Sega.
If you pre-ordered Sonic Mania on the PC as well as kind of a special bonus, you would get classic Sonic games on Steam, and you would get them before the game was out. If you installed those games, that would count as your install of the purchase of Sonic Mania. And therefore, when the game came out, and if you weren't enjoying it with the DRM and stuff and wanted to refund it, sorry, you've played more than 24 hours, you can't refund Sonic Mania.
Oh, that's shady.
Yeah, that is... I don't think that was intentional on their part. I think that's an issue with the Steam platform. But we'll see what's going on going forward. But they've removed the DRM stuff apparently now, or they are removing it. And but they still won't admit that they forced DRM. They're going, oh, it's a glitch in the game that installed a complete... There's a whole thing going on at the moment with the PC version. But console, great.
Right, well, I think that's probably about it, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, that'll do.
So let's get back to doing Sunday. And Timothy, you can get back to your sleep.
Yay! One other thing just to mention, I won't go on about it, but they have just launched a load of new guild events in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, but they've also added the ability to search for guilds, which you couldn't do before. So you can now join the Big Red Barrel Guild, search Big Red Barrel, all one word, no spaces, and come join the guild. The guild events are really cool. Basically, it's a whole mapped out Battle of Hoth, and you're having to go through certain stages and battle your way through that. It's really quite cool. If you're interested, come along and join the guild and help us win the battle.
Splendid.
Yay.
By us, Tim means Tim.
Yeah.
Because I quit out.
By us, I meant the other members of the actual guild community that you're not an active member of, Mr. Coleman.
Okay.
And talking of various guilds and clans and the like, of course, as I mentioned last episode, there is the Big Red Barrel Destiny 2 clan. It is open, all comers are welcome, and it looks like the setup for clans of Destiny 2 is if other members of the clan do stuff and, finish an endgame activity. No, that gives everyone in the clan some free goodies.
Oh, awesome. So it's kind of like the Injustice 2 guild system.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Nice.
So when I disappear down the rabbit hole that is the game, you'll probably all get a bunch of loot off me.
I like that. I like that.
So,
cool.
So there we go. So make sure to join up and there will be free things. Splendid. All right. So that is your lot, ladies and gentlemen, for the second time this week. You lucky devils, you.
It'll be technically next week.
And next week or whatever. For the second time this week for us. That's what really matters. We're going to get out of here. So I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
Yeah, you have.
I might be sleepy still.
I have been Coleman, and I'm wide awake.
I'm
wide awake.
I'm off my tits on energy drink, the lesser-known 8th dwarf.
No, good old coffee for me.
Hey, good lad.
Yeah.
Good
I'm
lad.
a rock star.
Sunday coffee morning with the Big Red Barrel team.
Anyway, we're going. So thank you ever so much for listening, ladies and gentlemen, once again. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.